Hey guys, Rebel Engine 95, recording live from the Local County prison cell. Yeah, this is another fight that I kind of have had on the back burner for a while. I guess that's kind of a theme lately, is that I'm doing fights that either themselves are very old and people have talked about already, or I'm doing fights that I've been wanting to do personally for a while. And mainly because this one, it's similar to Charlie versus Winter Soldier, or Nash versus Winter Soldier, in the sense that, like, one of the characters has already had a death battle, and it was pretty good, right? It was like, it was considered decent. So nobody's really asking for an alt. And that fight is Bane from DC versus Octane from Apex Legends. This is the second Apex character I believe I've used, right? Because I think my first one was Reaper versus Revenant. So, yeah, this is the similarities are pretty, clear cut. They're both these, they're both these guys that use chemical to, you could say they're both Hispanic, but I think that's a pretty, it's a pretty surface level difference. But they're both, they both have, like, strength that comes from they're both drug users, basically. That's really it. They both have these, Bane has Venom. Octane has Stim, I believe it's called. So yeah, this is going to be a little difficult because Apex, like a lot of similar games, there's not a ton of information regarding, like, the feats of the characters per se. Most of the information that you get is, like, game mechanics, so you kind of have to ascertain your own. But let's get to it. So we all know Bane. Bane is the one of the top Batman villains of all time. Originally from, what the hell was the name of the prison? He literally grew up in prison, was raised in prison, in one of the worst prisons in the world, and in that time, not only trained himself physically to become, like a man among men, but became, trained himself mentally and disciplined himself. So he's studied martial arts, he's studied tactics, he's got this incredible mind for for, like, strategy and everything. Ra's al Ghul, he's one of the only people to have ever beaten Ra's al Ghul in chess. Though Talia says that his mind is more cunning in the way that, like, an animal's mind, like a predator's mind, is cunning, rather than, like, a human, who's capable of thinking through a situation, right? So, yeah, and that's just his mental attributes. Physically, this guy's already, I would say, peak human, just without using Venom. I mean, without using Venom, he's ripped people's limbs off, thrown people several dozen feet. When he's on Venom, he becomes actually ridiculously superhuman, to the point where, he's lifting and throwing trucks. He's bulletproof, right? He's surviving, fatal injuries that would be fatal to other people. He's not absolutely superhuman in the sense that, like, because human characters, or peak human characters, have fought him and beaten him, hand to hand before. So it's not like the Venom makes him invincible, It just makes him far, far stronger than the average person. It has been known to have drawbacks, one of them being a mental drawback that deteriorates his mind and makes him go kind of primal, though in some incarnations that's been fixed. Yeah, but yeah, very dangerous opponent, very just very iconic Batman character. I didn't think he was going to get a death battle because I didn't consider him I didn't think they would go that, I don't want to say deep, even though I said he was one of the most famous Batman villains. I always thought Bane was more like he was a physically challenging villain, though, because of his debut and everything, though he has made himself, one of the top villains, over the years. On Octane. So Octane was let me see if I remember the backstory correctly. He's kind of like a thrill seeker character who I believe he won a race by launching himself with a bunch of grenades, and that ended up blowing his legs off. So the next big thing for him to do was get himself a pair of robot legs and participate in the Apex tournament, which is the deadliest, tournament known to man, where superhuman individuals basically get thrown into an environment and fight to the death. And he belongs there because these legs aren't just bionic legs that you'd get for war veterans or something. These are powered by that substance I talked about, stim. Stim is a substance that basically enables his body to use his bionic legs, but they do actively take a toll on his body, so he can run at multiple times he can run at multiple times peak human speed. We're not talking like Flash level, but we are talking I would say probably, I have nothing to back this up. If I had to guess, I would say 20, 30 miles an hour probably. But while he does that, his his body kind of takes a toll from him doing that. In game, his health drains, right? However, the other ability that Stim gives him is essentially a healing factor. It counteracts the physical toll on the rest of his body by when he's not running, his body regenerates a lot quicker. Like I said, basically giving him a healing factor. Now, this only works after a certain time. He has to stop running for a certain period of time. It doesn't kick in immediately. Like a few seconds or something. But we don't know that it doesn't he can't regrow limbs or anything. His body repairs itself in the way that a normal body would a lot faster. Now, luckily in Apex, he ends up, you end up being thrown into an environment where they have, guns everywhere. So we can presume that for a death battle, he would be given some sort of, assault rifle. I know in a lot of his animations, he uses bats and grenades. So he'd be pretty well equipped. And then his last, I'll call it a weapon, though it is technically an ability in game, is that he can, it's not spawn them magically, but he has a device that creates a launch pad. And anyone who touches this launch, it's a mechanical one. It's not like a trampoline, right? Anyone who touches it launches them, like thousands of feet, right? Now, we can probably assume that most of the Apex characters are able to survive due to their superhuman attributes. Because, yeah, you are just falling thousands of feet when you, right? Because this isn't like an attack that he uses. This is like a movement option, right? So, but for the sake of this, it is launching somebody thousands of feet. So how do we look into this fight? So in terms of, obviously the physical attributes speak for themselves, right? Actually, let me back up here. Yeah, the physical attributes speak for themselves. Bane is clearly, many, many, many times stronger than Octane. Octane is going to be many, many, many times faster than Bane. Bane's going to be a lot more durable. Octane is able to heal. Octane has a weapons advantage. Bane has the martial arts experience, the tactical experience. So really, what it comes down to is how these two pair up. Bane just needs to get his hands on Octane. I don't see Octane being able to actually, fight Bane in any physical capacity. Now, we know his legs are capable of, killing somebody, breaking their neck by, because they can stomp you, repeatedly very quick, like a motor, right? And break your neck. But that's a normal guy. That's probably not working on Bane, I would imagine. Right? So, the fact that Octane has weapons on him at all times, or can run and grab weapons, means, yeah, he's going to have to play, hit and run with Bane. He's going to have to be shooting at him. He's going to have to be throwing grenades at him. All things Bane has survived, by the way. If Bane gets his hands on him and, he's going to be causing damage, maybe if he breaks a bone or something, Octane will be able to heal from it. But we see Bane, ripping limbs off very frequently, right? That's something, like I said, that Octane can't heal from. And if Bane gets a hold of one of those legs, that's pretty much the end of the fight there. So, the only saving grace that Octane might have is if Bane gets a hold of him, he could use the launch pad, which would launch them both thousands of feet away. I don't see any advantage to Octane using this just on himself. And maybe he could use it, on Bane, and it would, launch him into something. That'd be a cool way to finish the fight, actually, is, Octane uses the launch pad, and Bane, grabs him and throws him into that, and then when he gets recoiled, he, punches through him or something, or he, grabs him by the throat, and, yeah. But, yeah, basically, I don't think Octane has a reliable way to kill Bane, efficiently, whereas Bane literally has to get his hands on him. That being said, it's not going to be that easy, because like we said, Octane is going to be able to avoid him pretty much at any point, right? Being able to run around him. And, even if we gave Bane guns or something to match, because he, like in the Venom one, he kind of used guns. Even if we gave, even if Bane had to worry about some form of weapon, like if they were in the Apex arena and Bane was shooting at Octane, yeah, he can recover from non-lethal bullet wounds, but he, Bane doesn't need to heal from bullets. They just bounce off of him, right? He just tanks them. So, yeah, there's not a really convincing way for Octane to beat Bane, except for possibly the launch pad. I don't know for a fact that Bane could survive. I mean, I haven't seen Bane survive, 1,000-foot fall or something, but that's the only thing I definitely know he survived bullets and grenades, so, that's maybe the only thing Octane could use, but Bane has to actually touch the launch pad. He can't just like force him back, right? So how's he gonna get close enough to use it? Well, he's got to risk Bane grabbing him and killing him. So that's how I see it. I think as soon as Bane gets a hold of Octane, the fight's over. Or as soon as he gets a hold of him twice, the fight's over. Because like we said, Bane is not stupid. He's going to grab Octane, venom up, rip his legs off, and then kill him. So yeah, that's how I see this fight going. But yeah, I mean, pretty cool fight. The only thing is, I don't know of any better Bane ults, but this is maybe the best one I could think of, or I saw, and yeah, I don't know the likelihood of it happening, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyway, Purple Engine 95. See ya.